Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition, another episode of your favorite basketball podcast, Sitting Courtside. Made it to episode 53. How you guys
Woo.
doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. Like always, like the first 52 year-long episodes, my name is Dante.
It's your boy Jerry D here. Woo!
And we are back. The last few weeks, we have been doing this series of listing 2 or 3 things that each team needs to do in order to compete, get back to the promised land, win an NBA championship, whatever it may be. But we are done with that. And this week, we have our NBA award predictions for you guys. So me and Jerry put together a list of, just predicted who we believe are going to win the major NBA awards this year, including MVP, Defensive Player, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Coach of the Year. And on top of that, we are going to list or name who we believe will win the Western Conference, the Eastern Conference, and who we think is going to win the NBA championship this year. All right, deep breath.
Yeah.
That was a lot. But
That was a mouthful.
but we're just going to jump right into it. This is what we're going to be tackling on this episode today. We're in the offseason, guys. We're a few weeks, a month away from the NBA season starting. So it's still, not a lot going on right now, but we will jump into this for you guys. Okay. I say we start off with the MVP. I think focusing on the most major award here, I will give my pick to start. I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the MVP this season. I didn't want to is it a strong possibility that Nikola Jokic wins his 4th MVP? Absolutely. I don't think he will be. I think he will be in the MVP conversation for at least the next few years, for the rest of his career. Even yes, correct. And Joel Embiid, I think, is another guy that will be in this conversation, just like he has the last few years. But 65 game minimum to win this award. I think he would have won it last year if he stayed healthy, but he didn't. But the guy that came in second place last year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, was averaging 30 points, was clearly the leader, the best player on the Oklahoma City Thunder that was competing for the 1 seed in the Western Conference all year. A team that no one expected to be as good as they were. Yes, we may have expected a few leaps from them, a few of their players. Chet Holmgren, his rookie year, how is he going to be on this team? But they exceeded everyone's expectations, including Oklahoma City Thunder fans. Shai Gilgeous came in second place for the MVP, and I think this should be the year that he wins it because the Thunder got better this offseason. I expect them to be right back at the top of the Western Conference. I think that they are the favorites, and rightfully so, to be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference when the regular season ends, and I think it will be because of Shai once again. Jalen Williams, another year of improvement. Chet going into his sophomore year. They just got Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein. I think this team is built to be really solid, not just in the regular season, but also in the playoffs. What they were weakened in the playoffs, they upgraded, got guys like Caruso, Hartenstein, like I mentioned. So I think that they are capable of making a long run, deep run this year. And Shai Gilgeous will be leading the way. I'm not saying there's going to be voter fatigue or anything like that, but Nikola Jokic winning it for a 4th time would be crazy. I definitely think it's a strong possibility.
And I hope it doesn't happen.
And it would be insane if it happened. I don't know how I would feel if he did win it for a 4th time. It would be interesting. It would be cool, like saying like I won it 4 times, but he's not my pick. My pick is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
The Jokic pick just seems a little too safe, right? I think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think we could always, like I said, for the next few years, for the rest of his career, I think we could pencil him in to win it potentially every single year. So
right.
Wouldn't be mad if you had said that, but I probably would have called you a lame, to be honest.
Cop out answer.
But SGA is definitely a solid pick. Like you said, the runner-up from last year definitely is the reason why OKC is where they are today as a Western Conference power favorite now to come out the West probably for the next couple of years. So definitely feels comfortable. But I'm going to go another direction. I'm staying in the conference, but I'm going to go with the big sleeper pick that I don't even think anybody's really talking about. How about some love for Ja Morant? I think we all forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I want to go against everybody that's probably picking the easy answer.
I want to see what the odds are on that. Keep going. Keep talking.
Please do.
I'm just gonna look.
But I think everybody's going to go with the easy answers, with the Lukas, with the SGAs, the Jokic, the Embiids. Like, I get it. These are
I
the
thought you
guys
were
that
gonna say Luca. That's who I thought you were gonna say. And then you
nope.
said sleeper, and I'm like, I don't know if he's a sleeper, but
Nah, I definitely wasn't feeling like Luka. Of course, has a chance, just like Jokic. Rest of
of
his career,
course,
he could stack up a few. But I think Ja's going to have a really big season, primarily because we just didn't see him last year. He played 9
right.
games, didn't really get a big scope of what he possibly could have done for that Grizzlies team, if he could have got him to the postseason or not, because he was suspended for so long, and then he comes back, tears his labrum, boom, out for the season. So it's very much, Ja Morant's somewhere in the top X amount of point guards. He's somewhere in the top best players in the league or whatever it is, but no one's really considering the Grizzlies to do much of anything next season. No one's probably expecting Ja Morant to come back in and have an impact like how he did before the stupid strip club gun nonsense and everything else in
Yeah.
between that was outside of the basketball court lines.
So
I don't even want to go into it.
I have the odds pulled up right here, and he is currently 10th to win MVP ahead of guys like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron, even. But
I
he's
like
top 10.
I didn't
That's a
even
nice
think he'd be
pick.
there. I didn't even think he'd be there. I didn't check. I just went straight with my gut here. And I think that Ja Morant will have a big bounce back season. The team's getting better. They drafted Zach Edey. They can
Yep.
slide Jaren Jackson down to the 4. They still got Desmond Bain. G.G. Jackson did mess up his foot, but he
So he'll be
should be back
back
at
at some point.
some point in the beginning of the season, that first 20 games or so. So I feel pretty confident
Okay.
that the Grizzlies' development and how everything's kind of going to be structured up, that the Grizzlies can launch themselves back into that. Hey, we're one of the best young teams in the league, too. I know the Timberwolves are there. I know OKC's over here, but hey, we literally could have went to the finals if I didn't get hurt back in 2022, and the Warriors took advantage of that leverage situation and end up beating the Boston Celtics. Don't want to open up any old wounds there, but I really think Memphis had a legit shot to get there
Yeah.
if Ja doesn't go down. So
Okay.
let's see it happen in 2025. I'm feeling Ja Morant for that award right now.
Hot start. Hot start. I like that. I like that a lot. The Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are going to be out for blood this year to prove a lot of people wrong.
What
They're,
is that whole the saying they had in 20? It was like out in the dark. You don't see the
yeah.
work in the dark or whatever it is. Like
Right.
I think we're gonna see what a full off season with getting the shoulder healthy and all that hasn't been on IG at all, other than posting workout videos. So hey, I'm liking the new mentality. There's something about that draft class that's something magical's happened. Zion lost weight.
He
So
did. He's on Ozempic. We all know that.
hey, do what you got to do. I didn't hear a thing. Didn't hear a thing.
No, you're right. Hey, what is that? What's the saying? A real G's move in silence like lasagna.
There you go.
That's what Lil Wayne once said. So yeah, expect big things from the Grizzlies and Ja Morant this year. All right, moving on to defensive player. I say we can kind of like do it like kind of back and forth. So you can start off with defensive player
For sure.
if you would like to.
I think you kind of know I'm going with this. I even highlighted it a few times when we talked about this team, more
I would
particularly
I
this
would like to be
player.
different as much as I could, but I think some of these we might have
I
the
wouldn't
same
doubt
bet.
it. I think he's just due a DPOY after the last few years that they have gone to mostly bigs. And I think the one year when he could have got it, Marcus Smart took it from him, but I think he should have got it. I'm going with Drew Holiday.
Oh,
I think
okay, not who I expected,
good.
but
Good.
okay, I like that.
I love being different. I think, I don't need to explain to you what Drew Holiday did for the Boston Celtics when he got there.
Mm-hmm.
Because adding another versatile defender that it does have that capability to hold 1 through 5 at times. I know some certain fives can punish him for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but he can hold his own, he could push him out of position, and he could kind of just make life difficult on anybody that he switched on to in the league. And I think watching him in Boston kind of just I don't really need to average 19 points anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to average 20. I can just
Yeah.
go out there and be a defender and a playmaker, and we could win games with Tatum and Brown, possibly Kristaps Porzingis when healthy, Derek White. You have so many weapons. I don't have to score.
Like you're taking a defensive minded, that's his biggest strength is defense, and now
Yeah,
you're telling him just
yeah.
focus on that. Not just focus on it, but that's
That's
your job.
primary focus. That's focus
Exactly.
number one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. This dude has a drills where he doesn't even touch a ball. He just
good.
guards people the entire
He's
2 hours.
good.
So like this just kind of just feels like he's gonna get his just dues, right? He just won a championship. He just won another Olympic gold medal. And now I think adding the DPOY would just kind of complete his resume in my head for what else does Drew Holiday possibly need to secure his Hall of Fame status. He probably already is a Hall of Fame.
I think there's an argument there that he already
Yeah, he
secured it
already
for
is. He
sure.
probably already is. But my personal Jerry Mind Hall of Fame, let that guard get him a DPOY and let that propel him in the conversations with the Gary Paytons, with the Marcus Smarts, the Michael Jordans, all these guards that won DPOY. I think Drew Holiday is right up there with them. So Drew Holiday's my pick for that award this year.
Jerry, you are off to a hot start today, and I love this pick. I mean,
Oh, I
you
know
want
Wemby's the guy. I know Wemby's the guy.
like you think
I know.
of like guys that are so deserving to win a Defensive Player of the Year. Like Drew Holiday's name is probably at the top for a lot of people's lists, and if they were more friendly towards guards winning this award, I think he would have had one at this point. You know what I mean? Since he's been in the league, one of the best perimeter defenders. I love that pick. Um, I'm rooting for him. I didn't pick him, but I'm rooting for him.
I understand.
I did go with Wemby. I know it's like the easy one. I get it, but it's just from the sake of look at him. Like look at him. Like he's gonna have if he stays healthy and like this is all health considering also
Of
as well.
course.
Like we're all assuming
Absolutely.
that they're gonna hit the criteria, whatever. It's like you see Wemby and it's like he had a case to win it last year as a rookie. He's gonna come in better than he was last year, smarter than he was last year, and just some new teammates, players out there that'll make it a little bit easier for him. I think, and just the God given talent of being
Length.
7'4", like he has
Length.
something that people can't teach. And it's like, if he averages 4 blocks a game, he averages 4 blocks a game. That's how it's going to be. I know it kind of feels like a cop out, but I do believe that
No.
Wemby will win the Defensive Player of the Year. If there was someone else who I didn't say Wemby for, who I actually thought you were going to pick, I would
Anthony
say
Davis.
Anthony Davis
Yeah.
because he's one of those guys that I feel like at some point in time could have won the award and hasn't.
For sure.
And I feel like he's due, kind of like in you're saying, like due for this winning award. Like what
He
else does he
is.
have to accomplish? I think winning a Defensive Player for Anthony Davis is something that he should be in the conversation for, and I believe will be again this year.
But,
If Wemby doesn't win it, I would pick AD.
let me just justify the Drew pick by saying this, because this is part of the reason why Wemby didn't win it last year, was the defensive efficiency rating of the team as a whole matters in this
Yes,
conversation, which is exactly why a player like Rudy Gobert
100%.
has 4 of them shits sitting
Yeah.
in his closet when I don't think that he's been the best defender any of the years that he's won them.
Mm-hmm.
But Drew Holiday having this ability, like we mentioned, he could throw away his offensive mind and just be a straight up defender. Hey, and guess what? I have good to great team defenders on the roster alongside
Right.
with me. It's at the point now where I look at the DPOY where it's not just an individual award anymore. I think I'm looking at it from a standpoint where
The
my
anchor
versatility is
of a really good defense.
exactly, and that's exactly one of the best shot blockers in the league, Porzingis. 3 of the other best perimeter defenders in the league, and Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. In my
Right.
mind, I'm thinking that the Boston Celtics will be top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. So it's also that's why it's like, yeah, it might sound like a hot pick over a guy like the favorite like Wemby, but I'm gonna go ahead and pencil it in. Even for the same case could be made for Anthony Davis. LeBron is an average to minus defender at this point, except for high leverage situations for the Lakers at this point in his career. Outside of AD, the rest of the team is kind of like whatever defensively. Like
Right.
they're middle of the pack probably the last couple of years, except for 2020 and 2021. I think that's
Sure.
when they were like really stalwarts on defense. But I'm looking
No,
at
I
the structure, not just the individual. Because if it's just the individual, yeah, Wemby's an easy pick. 3
Sure.
blocks, 3 steals a game. Like, yeah, I'm going to pencil it in. But team defense, so much help, and I'm going to be the head of the snakes, like you said, the anchor. I'm rolling with Drew.
I like the logic. I think that makes sense. I also think we're getting to a point where Wemby's kind of might be presented as the golden child, so they might,
Yep.
push him. I get what you're saying.
Well,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but that there might be they might not factor that in as much for someone like Wemby. But
Well, I kind of thought he was going to get it this past year, and then everybody like Draymond even
people
came
were
out and said
pushing
on his
for it.
pod. Yeah, Draymond said on his pod, well, the team defense, he didn't help the team defensively. He put up great individual numbers, which at first reaction is like, the hell you talking about? He averaged 4 blocks, but at the same time, yeah, they did give up 120 points per game.
Yeah, right.
That's a problem.
Well, we shall see what happens. I mean, there's a handful of guys that'll be in contention. So
And Anthony Davis better be a finalist next year, or else I'm going to tear somebody's head off.
it should be a tight race this year.
Yes,
It definitely should.
be.
All right, next one, we are moving on to the Rookie of the Year. We kind of talked about this a little bit before we started filming, and we've said this on camera before too. This past draft class, not the strongest. I didn't even recognize who the number 1 pick was. I didn't really know much about him before the night of the draft. But there still are, people to choose from, a handful of people that will be in contention. Who I have as winning Rookie of the Year is Reed Shepherd on the Houston Rockets. I just think Houston is going to be one of those teams that is going to be on the cusp of making the play-in tournament. Last year, I believe they finished as the 11th seed. They were making a late push to make the play-in. They just missed out. I think that this year, another year of improvement from all the young guys, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Sengun, Whitmore, Thompson.
Everybody. We got a lot.
They got a lot of really good young guys. And Reed Shepherd being added to the mix, I think being taken 3rd overall, even though there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of mouths to feed, I believe that he will be towards the center of all that. I think Jalen Green will be the primary scorer, but I think Reed Shepherd will definitely be heavily involved in that offense. I know it's just summer league, and we can kind of say it from both sides of things, where it's like, I really liked what I saw out of Reed Shepherd. And again, I know it's just summer league and everything. I don't want to overreact, but I think his performance in the summer league showing that he can do a little bit of everything on the offensive side of things. And I think he'll definitely buy into team basketball, and he will be a centerpiece of this young core. I think that he will have a really solid rookie campaign first year in the league. And also the weakness of the draft, I think will benefit him as well. I'm not trying to say that in the sense of like, these guys aren't going to do well. I'm not hoping for that, but I think he will stand out amongst some of his peers from this draft class.
So you're not worried, before I give my answer, you're not worried about the Fred VanVleet kind of math equation there, kind of taking some minutes?
I honestly think we could see Fred VanVleet getting traded at some point this year for Houston. I think that they're definitely going towards the young core and really focusing on them. And I think adding Reed Shepherd to the mix kind of makes someone like VanVleet a little expendable. You can kind of get rid of him,
I think we mentioned this in a past episode. Whenever they drafted him, I think we actually said maybe Fred's on the way out, but it's going to be interesting to see, mainly because I know Ime Udoka has preached since he got there. I want to compete. I want to win. I don't want to be here for a rebuild. Blah blah blah. Trading a vet player. I mean, it's Fred VanVleet. I'm not trying to hold him in the highest of regards.
Right. But he does help. Gives some sort of veteran leadership there. And I can see him staying if you're pushing for a playoff run. And you want to keep him around, whatever, and you want to compete for the play-in, like keeping him in the fold definitely helps in that case. Unless he's playing terrible and like having a
different story,
worst season of his career, then it's a different story.
Value might be crap, but I guess they can see if they can trade him.
Right, yeah.
Okay. I think that's a solid pick either way. I think, again, I think this Rookie of the Year award this year in 2025 will be very, very wide open. So
yes, for sure.
I have 2 names kind of that I'm kind of like stuck between, with Montas Buzelis being one because of the situation in Chicago.
Yep.
There's not much going on out there.
Someone I was considering for this as well. Yep.
So it seems kind of easy for him to flourish in a system that it's going to be probably tailored around him eventually, unless Josh Giddey comes in, recently traded there over this summer.
Right.
Where he could kind of just, I guess, take the keys and make it about him. That's a possibility, but not completely sold. I can see Montas coming in and just kind of being that scoring option out gate. Then
100%.
the other one is the name that I mentioned to you earlier in Zach Edey, where I think that's going to be a better situation. Where I mentioned him in the MVP conversation for Ja, where this guy's going to help out big time because you have this potential black hole. And I think we usually when we say black hole, we associate that in a negative connotation
Right.
to where the ball stops moving or blah, blah, blah. He's not very versatile on offense. I think having that load down there, no Diddy, is just going to have everything set up to where Ja and spacing wise, it'll just be
Right.
easier to operate.
He might attract multiple defenders because they need he's so tall he can just shoot over guys. They might need to bring a double team, pass the ball around more. No, he
Exactly.
might even help with the flow of the offense.
I don't need to explain to you what a 7 foot forward could do for an offense. Like,
Yeah.
not saying he's Wemby, but regardless of the skill set or not, if you have some type of offensive touch and can show that you could be a threat on the offensive glass, Zach Edey's probably going to put up big time numbers. I'm thinking like anywhere from 12 to 16 points, around 8 to 10 rebounds. He's 7'4". He should definitely
Just
grab at least
like
9 a game.
just like Wemby, you can't teach height. Has that advantage for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. So, I mean, I'm kind of thinking I'm leading towards Zach Edey just because I think the Grizzlies will be a better team. And I know
Sure.
usually we don't factor that into the Rookie of the Year award. I mean, look, the Spurs won 20 games last year, and Wemby won it. Traditionally, these rookies aren't a part of great teams, but you know, Chet Holmgren had a good case in the beginning of the season last year to where, oh wait, maybe he could take it from Wemby because
Mhm.
he's putting up numbers, and his team's the 1 seed in the West. Well, I really think in this case, Zach Edey's going to put up good numbers, and the Grizzlies will be one of the top teams in the West.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of a combo of both. I like Montas a lot, and I like your Reed Shepherd pick, but I'm gonna have to go with the 7'4" demon. I think it
Hey,
just makes it easy.
he's the favorite for a reason. So I think that is a solid pick. It could I don't know. I'm not overly convinced of Zach Edey yet, but I agree with your
Understood.
points, and I think that there is, he could do wonders for that team. So and help John Moran's MVP case as well.
Yeah, it's good. I think the Zach Edey thing is going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to the speed of the game.
Right.
Since the
Yeah,
game
for
is
sure.
that slow, it's not going to be you're not going to be able to park down low every single possession. Like this ain't Purdue. You're not getting
Yeah.
the ball like 9 times out of 10 possessions. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to run the floor efficiently.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm hoping he lost a little bit of weight, kind of move better in his frame probably, and be this demon of a shot blocker and keep that presence on the offensive glass. Because that way you'll get some easy buckets. You're 7'4". There's not a lot of guys that are actually your height and get that mobile.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I'm gonna take the cop out answer here and go Zach Edey though.
All right. There we go. All right, you got the next one.
Yeah, six man of the year award here. It was kind of tough looking at this list. There was a lot of really interesting names, even some rookies popping up on the list because like I really like the Reed Shepherd pick, where
Yep.
just in case they don't trade Fred VanVleet at the
Sure.
top of the season, Reed Shepherd kind of
Rob
growing into
Dillingham, I saw was another name.
it's
Yeah.
another big
Another
name.
interesting name. Yep.
Dalton Connect could be another
Mhm.
name that gets thrown out there depending on how LA uses them, but not going with either of those guys. I have another tie here that I need to break
Okay.
because I don't really know what the Knicks are going to do with their starting lineup. But if they bring Dante DiVincenzo off the bench, that would be my pick because I think arguably he was one of the best catch and shoot players in the whole entire league last year.
Yep.
Playing off of Jalen Brunson, playing off of Julius Randle before he got hurt, like it was literally just instant offense, sitting in the corner, waiting on the ball or wherever he needed to be. So I really and obviously he's a great athlete. Could go dunk the ball in your face if he has to. Is not a bad playmaker. There's more layers to his game than I think people actually give him credit for. So that's number
Yep.
one. Number two, the favorite in Malik Monk is probably going to
Missed it.
be
He's been so close the last few years.
yes. I think it makes perfect sense for what the Kings have going on that I can just come off the bench and do my thing. We just picked up DeMar DeRozan. Keegan
Yep.
Murray's going to slide to the floor. We still got Sabonis, and obviously Fox is there. So Malik Monk could literally just come in and be a flamethrower. He can't play any
Yep.
defense like that. I don't
It's
think
all
he's that
right.
great of a
It's not.
defender.
Hey, we're not going after defensive player
Nope.
of the year here. Just six
Nope.
man.
We're just talking about straight microwavable offense, and Malik Monk can provide
He
that
can do
for you
that. He can definitely do that. You could argue that he could have won it one of the six
last
man
year.
a year last
Could have
year,
had it
even the
last
year
year.
before. He could have.
But I'm feeling, honestly, I'm just hoping that they have Dante come off the bench here because that's more likely my pick because I think he does a little more on both sides of the ball, and I think he might be a better playmaker. Not by much. He's not a better scorer because I think Malik Monk can light it up better than he can. He can create his own shot better than he can. But I like DiVincenzo's energy and the role that I saw him play with the Knicks last year. This catch and shoot ability, but slashing without the ball to the rim, it's just perfect. Playing off of superstar caliber players like Brunson, like Randall, and now you bring in Bridges, OG still there. Like, I'm feeling DiVincenzo, so I'm going to settle on that Nick pick there.
All right. I also have two here. It's kind of more like I have my pick, but there's someone I want to give some love to because I think that he is a sleeper that will be in consideration. My pick, my overall pick here is Malik Monk. He's the favorite to win it this year. But again, he's been within like I think last year he only lost by like just a few votes. It was very close. I think he's very deserving of the award. It's kind of been like just going. He's just missing it. He's trying to get it. He's trying to grab it, and it just keeps just a little bit out of the distance. I think this is a year that he does win it, though. Deserves it. I think that offense is going to be it's going to be a crazy offense between DeMar, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. I think Malik Monk coming off the bench doing his thing. I think he'll be at the very least in contention to win it again. But I think this year he finally gets it. And the guy that I want to give some love to is Flowers. And, I think he could be a surprise pick potentially winning this year. Alex Caruso on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think, he could be, the leader of the bench here. He could be the mastermind of the bench. I think a combination of that, his defensive abilities, and kind of that rubbing off on everyone. Oklahoma City could be one of the better defensive teams in the league this year, and Alex Caruso could be the glue defensive guy, even though he's coming off the bench. But I think him rubbing off on the team and what also he can bring on the offensive side of things, because he ain't no scrub on offense, I think that could put him into consideration winning the sixth man this year. Not my pick, but someone I wanted to kind of give a shout out to and, let people know that he could be gunning for that award too.
I'm not mad at that. I mean, primarily because
I don't think he'd have the numbers. I don't think he'd have like the points or anything, but I think it is doable for sure.
Doable. I mean, we think of the sixth man and we instantly think of Jamal Crawford, Manu Ginobili, Lou Will, guys that come in off the bench and just put up numbers. But Caruso could play this de facto point guard role.
Yep.
Be that lunch pail defender and just kind of be that all-around glue that does all the little things, right? Like, he's made an all-defensive second team now 2 years in a row, I think it is. But he's also, he could give you 10 points a game. Absolutely. He could probably give you 5 to 6 assists
he'll give
a game.
You low teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few steals, a few blocks. Like, I'm actually cool with Caruso being closer in this running than what people actually probably give him credit for. I think we named a solid 3 guys in Monk, DiVincenzo, and Caruso. I think those 3 are probably going to be towards the top of this. Naz Reid, love you. Not sure where you'll be at in this list, but I guess
we'll see. I think he was second behind Malik Monk. Yeah. I believe
has a shot, but I think I'm kind of thinking of like new blood here for this award. But
absolutely. Don't know. Absolutely. Think that QE will throw for more than 300 yards? How about the receiver Miami grabbing a touchdown? Check out DraftKings Pick 6, the newest way to compete against others and play fantasy football to win cash with DraftKings. Pick a player and choose if they'll have more or less of a specific stat like yards, catches, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right and you'll win cash. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code SITTING. That's code SITTING for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits guaranteed. Plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Offer expires 9/19. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available if you have gambling problems. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 is not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. 1 per new customer. Reward issue as $50 in non-withdrawal Pick 6 credits that expire in 6 months. The NFL Plus premium offer is only available to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms. Now back to the video. All right, let's move on to most improved player. This award is frustrating because it's kind of, we've seen in the past, it's an award that is based off of someone, well, the thought of it is like a guy that was end of the bench or like a non-starter coming next season, becoming an all-star type player or just making a jump that no one expected, right? You think of that for most improved. Not like someone that already has expectations to be a star, but their numbers are better, so they give it to them. We've seen that in the past with like John Morant, most recent example. Someone like Tyrese Maxey, who won it last year, I think was, very deserving. This year, I think it is going to be given to someone who we all expect the world from him. And I think he is going to not easily, I do think he could easily win this, to be honest with you. I have Victor Wembanyama. I think that he is going to make a huge jump from his rookie year to sophomore year, but like we're expecting him to. So I don't think the expectation, the value is like, if you're expected to do something, I don't think a most improved player consideration should be there for him. I think like an MVP
No,
or
he's an
defensive
MVP
player,
candidate.
for
He's an
sure.
MVP
He's
candidate.
more in that than most improved, but I do believe he will
Yeah.
be in the most improved player conversation and win it. But because of that, I want to give a shout out or give two guys who, no cop out answer, no Wemby. These are the two guys that I would be deciding between. And we were talking about this before. There's a lot of guys. This was the toughest one to pick of who could win this. My first one, Jerry, I have Jonathan Kuminga. Now, he is towards the top of the favorites of this list. I think he's second behind Wemby. But the reason why I put Kuminga is because he has to put up these crazy numbers. He has to put up better numbers from last year. He had a good year last year. I think he averaged 16, 17 points. But for the Warriors to compete, to be a playoff team, and from what we're hearing, they're making it seem like they're confident that they are going to be back in the playoffs.
I don't
Steph
know
Curry.
why, but yeah,
I don't know why. They got to know something that we don't. But
believe.
if they're that confident and they think that that's going to happen, one of, if not the biggest reason behind Steph Curry being Steph Curry is Jonathan Kuminga proving this is why they didn't trade me. This is like, I'm the second option here now. Like Clay's gone. No one, like, I'm the second option. Clear cut, no debate. I think that could happen. I'm not like, it could happen. It definitely couldn't happen, right? He could just stay exactly where he is. We see improvement, but not a crazy amount of improvement, and the Warriors suck. Or we see the Warriors back into the playoffs, and a big reason why is Jonathan Kuminga. The other guy I have, and you mentioned him earlier, and simply the reason why I'm putting him here is because he's going to be on a shit team, and he could put up just empty stats that mean nothing. Josh Giddey on the Chicago Bulls. He's the perfect player to put up like shitty, like low end triple doubles every game, like 10, 10, 10. Like he has that ability where he can score if he has to. He's a good passer, good playmaker, and he rebounds the ball he's one of the better rebounders for a guard. Now he's going to be on a team where no one's going to tell him no. No one's going to tell him, hey, Josh, you can't shoot that shot. Hey, Josh, you can't run into traffic with five guys there. You absolutely can. This year in Chicago, everything's off limits. So I think that he will be in the conversation there. Again, he's going to be. I think he'll put up good numbers, but the Bulls will suck. But ultimately, I think it will be given to Wemby. But if not Wemby, I think it would go to Jonathan Kuminga. So that's what I
Yeah,
have.
it. I'm right here with you, man. Wemby would be my pick as well. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
it definitely does give that John Morant vibe. But excluding that, getting on to that non-cop out answer, excluding Wemby, I also have two guys because I think this makes sense. Kind of similar to how we looked at Kuminga. He has to have a huge year for this team to be better. For the Warriors to actually look like a playoff threat, in my opinion, I think he needs to average 24 plus. Like he's gonna have to go crazy. But I like Paulo Banchero here, man. I think I think we look at the Magic and automatically say they're probably going to be locks for the postseason at this point for the year-to-year basis since they actually made it in last year.
Yeah.
They have good young talent around them, but Paulo Paolo is teetering the line for me to where I see it on him where he could just explode and be this guy that could be a 25 plus point scorer,
Yep.
go out there and average 10 boards, be the 5 assist guy, just this all around
100%.
superstar that he needs to be for the Magic to actually take that bigger step up. Both him and Franz need to take leaps for the Magic, but I'm looking at Paolo as like, hey man, all of this starts and ends with you.
Yeah,
So I need a
100%.
major
He was the number one pick. He's
yes.
meant to be the cornerstone. So,
Yes. I need another major I know he was an all-star last year, but I need to see more out of his game because that's part of the reason why they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I believe the Magic were the better team.
yeah.
I just think that Donovan Mitchell was the best player on the floor, and he went nuclear when he needed to go nuclear. That's why they
I
lost to
mean, Paul was confident. He said, like, well, I think we talked about this where he was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? He
Yep.
wants to be the best. I think he has the motor for it. I definitely think he has that in him, the talent. It's
Mm-hmm.
about whether if it comes to fruition or not.
The second one that maybe fits this mold a little bit better because we look at Paulo, it's probably another guy that should honestly be an MVP kind of talks as well, just because he made an all-star team already.
Right.
This dude's no scrub. Another piece that I look at that made a case last year to win the award late in the season after John Collins was traded. I'm looking at Jalen Johnson. This is
Another guy
another
I was looking
situation.
at. Yep.
Yeah. It's another situation where, like you said about the Bulls, it's a dumpster fire. There's nothing really going on over there. In Atlanta, you have Trae Young, who does
For
have
now.
this. Yeah, for now. Yeah, he does have that Chris Paul-ish kind of effect to make bigs better. And I think he did wonders for Jalen Johnson's game when he was in. But
Yep.
yeah, like I'm kind of anticipating that Trey would also be traded because they literally, I think I've seen a report that if his market was better, he probably
He would have
wouldn't
been
be on the
gone by
roster.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that Trey Young will be traded eventually at some point. Unfortunately, I would like him to stay. But Jalen Johnson could take this major step to where, oh snap, I'm the guy now.
he's like
I'm,
he's like Will Smith when he's in the empty living
yep.
room. It's like, where'd
One day,
everyone go? All
exactly.
right.
Like I know they just drafted Ricochet. We talked about the draft here a little earlier, but
There's a lot of question marks around him still.
yeah, I don't know
What
what
do
to
you
really think
expect
about
out of
him.
him? Yeah.
Not much, to be
Not
honest.
much.
I have no idea. So I'm looking at Jalen Johnson as the primary young building block outside of Trey if he's gone, to be this guy that is kind of the face of Atlanta basketball for the next few years, and that can
Yep.
take a major leap in his game, and maybe he adds more to his floor game. He was more of a rim runner, didn't really have the ball a ton at the top of the key or making decisions or nothing like that, but he plays his role well, and maybe he could elevate into something else under Quinn Snyder's system. So I
Yep.
love the Jalen Johnson pick.
No,
That's
I think
probably going
that's
to be mine.
solid. I think that's solid. That's another name I was looking at before I ultimately went with Kuminga and Giddy behind Wemby. But yeah, like we said, this was a tough. This was
Yeah.
probably the toughest category because there genuinely are. Another guy I had him written down for a while. I had Scoot Henderson written down for a little bit. I think he started showing flashes at the end of last year. I think
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller. I'm trying if I can think of anyone else, but there are a lot. There's a good amount of guys that
Hey,
will
I
be in
mean,
contention
there's
for that.
a
Jalen
lot of them are
Williams again on the Thunder. He could be in it.
Jalen Williams. I think you got
Chet
to
Holmgren
Chet,
potentially.
Cade Cunningham.
Cade.
There's
Yep.
there's a few different names just from this young crop of players that could just take off.
Yep.
Got to see how it
100%.
goes.
All right. Last one we have here. Last award, Jerry. If you want to tell us who you have for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, man. I got to get back on my Grizzly boat, man. I
Mm.
got to give it to Taylor Jenkins. Like I said about the MVP talk with Ja possibly getting it. I really feel like the Grizzlies are going to have this snapback season to where, wow, like Ja just sat out X amount of games last year. He's dumb. He's stupid. He's doing stuff with guns, with strippers. Oh, he got hurt. Like all this other nonsense. Having a full, healthy lineup back into the situation, man, I'm hyped for Grizzlies basketball this year.
Yep.
And I'm a Laker fan.
It'll
But
be fun.
I'm
They'll be
super
a fun
hyped
team.
for what we can see from Taylor Jenkins and the Memphis Grizzlies this year. So I'm gonna give it to Taylor, man. I think, having a healthy roster in place in general for any coach is one hell of a luxury. Like
Mm-hmm.
being able to play multiple games or having guys play above 50 games, multiple. Oh my gosh! Like every coach would pray for times like that. So if
For
Ja's
real.
able to play 65 plus games, qualify for the MVP awards, All NBA first teams, Same thing with Jaren Jackson. You got a new toy in Zach Edey. Desmond Bane. Like, we mentioned the weapons in the MVP conversation. I just really feel like the Grizzlies can be a really good team next year. And I think Taylor Jenkins is going to have a way different outlook on how he uses guys as long as his star player is healthy and able to play. So I'm rolling with Memphis again, man. I'm on the Memphis train for today.
You are. You are. And I think you gave great reasons why. And he is someone who I considered as well for kind of similar reasons that I picked my guy. And you've been on the Grizzlies today. I've kind of been on the Rockets today. I'm going with Ime Udoka because I think the Rockets, am I saying they will be? No. But I'm saying they can be similar to how the Thunder were last year, where like we see a really young team and we know that something's going to happen in a few years. They're going to take off in a few years. They made a late run last year. They missed out on the play-in tournament. They made a late run. Who says that they don't figure it out a few years earlier than people anticipated? Ime Udoka is a phenomenal head coach. I think if there's anyone out there best suited to create a culture and work with a group of all these like 6, 7 young guys, I think Ime Udoka is the right guy for that. He's a very vocal head coach. He's a player coach. I think he's someone that really can work with these guys and bring out the best in them. And, I think Reed Shepherd will benefit from playing under a coach like Ime Udoka. That's why I have him winning Rookie of the Year. I think we can see steps from guys like Sengun, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green. It's just the fact that these guys are all coming up at the same time and growing and maturing at the same time, where, again, similar to the Thunder, I think, and even the Magic as well. I think just them working together and them not changing anything and keeping that core together, I think it's only going to be I think it's only a matter of time before they figure something out and they surprise a lot of people. And I think it could be as early as next year. So I do have Ime Udoka. I think Greg Popovich is another guy I want to maybe give some credit to, but I don't think the Spurs are going to be. I think they'll go from one of the worst teams to be a play-in contender. But I think that is another coach that could be in the running if the Spurs really surprise people next year. Could happen, but I'm putting more of my money on Ime.
I gave for my second pick. I gave some love to your boy Joe Mazzulla. I mean, just with how the Celtics are going to look, for the next few years here. Now it's a name that we could consider to win the award like year after year. Of course, we have our honorable mentions as well, like in Ty Lue or Eric Spoelstra, those guys that do less with more. But assuming that those guys are healthy and able to play, like I'm looking at the Heat and Clippers in a different light because especially the Clippers, I don't really give a shit about them. So.
What are you talking about? Favorite team in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think we could stop after that bullshit.
All right, listen. We'll stop with that bullshit. I apologize. Didn't mean to upset you. Let's move on from that. Let's talk about who we believe is going to win. Well, we're done with the awards now. So we're moved past that. Now we're going to move on to who we believe will win each conference, Western Eastern Conference, and who will be the NBA champions. I'm just going to kind of bundle it all together. We don't have to go like East, West.
We'll give them all.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet for the East. Going with the Boston Celtics. Yes, there are teams like the Knicks, like the Sixers that added this offseason and put themselves potentially closer, catching up to Boston. I still don't think they're good enough. I still don't think they did enough. And then there's teams like Milwaukee who, yes, are favorites to win the Eastern Conference every year, but I don't think they got better this offseason. I don't think they got much worse, but I'd say I'd lean towards more of the fact that they got worse than better because, yes, they still have their core group of guys, but that core group is another year older. Damian Lillard coming off an injury. I know he's motivated, but coming off an injury at 34, 35 years old, that's something. Chris Middleton, we haven't seen – he had some good games in the playoffs, but he was genuinely the only option. Where's he going to be at? And then Brook Lopez. I think the Bucks just – and Doc Rivers still coaches them. I think that's really the biggest thing. I just don't –
on, please.
Sorry, Doc. Doc was there for 2008. Much love to Doc. But no, it's just I don't think that they're on the same level as Boston.
The disrespect.
some teams tried their best to get better, but I don't think they got.
I don't think
No team
Milwaukee
got
tried.
close to Boston.
I do
What'd you
not think
say?
Milwaukee. I don't think Milwaukee tried their best.
No,
That
I don't think
they
so
did
either.
not.
I think they're really putting a lot of stock in their core just
Yeah.
being as good as it was years ago. But hey, we'll see what happens there. In the West, this is a tough one. West is a lot tougher than the East. You have teams like the Timberwolves, of course, the Mavericks, who made it to the finals last year. You have the Thunder. You have the Nuggets, who have the best player in the world. You have the Grizzlies, who, were a top team years ago when they were fully healthy, and now they're back there. You have the Lakers. You have maybe the Warriors if they're as good as they say that they are. The Clippers could still be in contention. The Pelicans, the Rockets, who I've been high on. There's a lot of
What
teams.
about my Grizzlies, baby? Come
I said
on.
the Grizzlies. I said
Oh,
the
I
Grizzlies. No, I
oh,
did. I
had to give
there
us some love again.
there's a lot of good teams out west, but ultimately I'm going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm
Mm.
picking the Thunder. They're young, but they're hungry. And they were so good last year, and all they did was get better. And I think they got a lot better this offseason. They picked up two players that should solve two of their biggest weaknesses on defense, as well as having another big man down there, and Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. Shea Gilgeous, I have him winning the MVP this year. I think that they can go far in the playoffs. I think he'll be leading the way. Jalen Williams, another big year from him. Chet Holmgren, his second year in the league. Lou Dort, Carson Wallace. There's so many guys. The other Jalen Williams. They're stacked. They're really, really good. And I expect them to make it to the NBA Finals out of the West next year.
Okay.
And I'll just say who I'm going to pick to win the finals.
We don't. We no. I think we know. I think
Since
we know.
I'm here,
Nah, you're good.
I know people are like, "Oh, who?" It's
No,
50-50. Who's he going to pick? Who's he going to pick,
no,
guys? I know it might come as a surprise, but I am
no.
going to pick the Boston Celtics to repeat
Repeat
as
champs,
NBA
huh?
champs. I think it's going to happen, Jay. It hasn't happened since the KD Warriors, but I think it'll happen. Yeah.
I'm not mad
Health,
at that.
everyone, health considering, of course. Again, this is everyone. No one gets hurt this year. This is everyone's healthy. Celtics winning the championship.
I'm cool with that. I think every team that you picked come out the East, come out the West, and even the winner. I think it all makes sense. Boston, we've said it since they won the title. I'm disappointed in them if they don't end up with at least 3 rings in this decade alone. So
That's the expectation now. Joe Mazzulla said he was asked about how the team feels about having a target on their back. He goes, "I hope the bullseye is right on the forehead between the eyes."
dead center.
Psycho.
Hey, I like it though, man. I mean,
I love it, but he is fucking crazy. He's probably just got finished watching The Town before that interview.
did something. But nah, for my picks, man, I think to come out the East, I have no argument where we are one in the same in terms of who we pick there. I think the Sixers probably have the best bet, and I really want to go against the grain. I want to go against the grain so bad, but is Joel Embiid going to be healthy? Like
Big
that's
question mark. It's a big question mark.
like all injuries on into 2K and shit like that, and we're going through the simulation. If Joel Embiid's not playing against the Boston
They
Celtics,
have no chance.
the Philadelphia 76ers will be swept in
Yeah.
the Eastern Conference Finals if
Mm-hmm.
something like that happens. So I can't bank on health right now being the thing. So got to give it to Boston. I don't have to go back through the team. You listed it already. Uh, for the Western Conference, I think I've been on the fence, man. Like even now, I can tell you right now, I'm not even 100% sure in this because even though OKC busted out this year and kind of showed us that who they are, like, hey, we made it to the second round. I think we could play in the finals next year or whatever. I get it. Mark Dagenhalt, wonderful job putting together these guys and actually getting them on one accord and actually moving as a unit. You did your damn thing. I don't know if I can give it to them. I don't. I don't know.
There's a
Even
lot of
now,
good teams out west. There's a lot of good teams. So I mean, I
and
hear you.
I think the ones that we're sleeping on is kind of like the old head teams too. Like we're not expecting the Phoenix Suns to
Oh,
look any
I
better.
didn't say the Suns when I was
Yeah,
listening.
you
I didn't
didn't,
even
but
listen.
they still won 50 games and they had
Right,
2 guys coming back from the
right.
summer with Olympic gold medals around their necks. Like
That's true.
Devin
Yeah.
Booker and Kevin Durant are weapons. The Los Angeles Lakers also have another duo of guys coming back from Paris
Yeah.
with Olympic gold medals around their necks. LeBron
One of
and
them was
AD.
the MVP.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
there's still two top 10 guys in the league. And until LeBron retires, I'm going to say that he's a top 5 player in the league. I'm just of that mindset. So
Fair
with that
enough.
being said, assuming that a trade is made at some point, so big asteroid right here, I'm going to give it to my Los Angeles Lakers. Assuming that a trade is made, that something happens to where I don't have to doubt my take in, in September 5th. You know, we'll do this again at the start of the season in October, and we'll see how I feel if I want to stay pat on my prediction today. But right now, I'm going to ride the high. I'm going to ride that these two guys can figure it out, and that Dalton Connect comes in and actually has a major impact, and that we just figure some shit out. Because you really can't tell me I'm wrong. Playoffs are all about matchups. And if the Lakers possibly would have played your pick to come out the West in 2025, I'm confident that the Lakers probably would have beat OKC in the first round of the playoffs last year. I know that they're a really good team, and that's not a matchup that we should want to draw. But I damn sure didn't want to play the Denver Nuggets in the first round. That was terrible. I did not want to do that.
Yeah.
So
No.
I am going to ride with the Lakers. I don't know if it's just a bunch of biased shit coming out of me. I don't know if it's
tell me who's winning the championship, Jerry.
I don't know if it's who's out. Let me get there. But I'm still going to rock with the Boston Celtics to win.
Okay.
Mainly, again, you know, the talent disparity that the Celtics have on their roster is just a little much. But I think what both you and I know is that in order to win an NBA championship, in order just to get there to play for one, it takes a whole lot of luck.
Mm-hmm.
And matchups matter.
They do.
So if the Celtics let's say they play the Knicks in the first round, for whatever reason, maybe the Knicks get hurt and they have matchups shake out differently. Or the Celtics get hurt and they have matchups shake out differently. Let's say they're a 4 and 5 seed. You're playing them in round 1. After that, you're playing Philly in round 2. That's a whole lot of wear and tear on the body, a whole lot of fatigue. To where I look schedule. At whoever they're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals could get a pushover version of what the Celtics could be. But it could just be a rough route. The Lakers, same thing. Like, I'm telling you, I don't have
the Lakers are going to have to go through hell to get to the NBA Finals.
We're going to have to go through, exactly. But, you know, we saw it in 2023 to where they beat, I believe it was Memphis. I forget who they played in round 2. But it was kind of somewhat of a little bit of a cakewalk. It was an easy-ish path. And LeBron and AD were kind of on autopilot pretty much most of the postseason. Because it was really that much of like, wow, like we're rolling teams right now. No, we're an 8th seed. Nobody expected us to get to the Western Conference Finals. It's just that Jokic was just that damn good. And that Jamal Murray, you know, when he sees a yellow and purple jersey, it's deer in the headlights kind of look. I'm about to light these motherfuckers up. Like that's the type of vibe that we get when we see Jamal Murray play the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
So I shit you not. I know it's kind of crazy to pick the Lakers out of this bunch.
I don't think you're crazy. I don't.
Your genuine reaction was like, "This dude is tripping.
This dude is on crack."
I had to talk about it a little more because you know that the West it's like a minefield. You don't know what you're going to step on out there. You don't know if the Timberwolves are going to blow up. And what other team? The Grizzlies.
No offense to Dallas, but they were. I mean, no one thought they were making it out of the West last year, especially going into the playoffs. So
everyone thought the Timberwolves were going to choke up. Like, probably get smashed by Phoenix in the first round, right?
Them beating Denver in the second, you know, that could have changed a lot of things. That could have changed the outcomes.
So I'm kind of like, I look at the Western Conference and I don't see any bad team in the top 12. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, sure.
So the fact that, like, you know, I've been praising the Grizzlies all episode long. The Grizzlies could actually be back in this conversation. The Lakers, the Suns, the Warriors, even though I doubt it, have a shot at this. And then obviously the teams there at the top, the Thunder, the Wolves, the Nuggets and whatnot. I get it. There's a lot of great teams out West. I'm going to ride with the guys that are going to have the duo. The two of the 4 best players on the floor most nights. And until October, maybe I'll feel differently, but this is how I feel in this moment. haven't got to pop my Lakers shit in a very long time. So I'm glad to be here. Talking the talk right now, and I hope LeBron and AD can bring another chip to LA, man.
I love you, Jerry. What I respect the most out of you is that you're real. Is that you say it how it is. You stick to your guns, and I really respect that. Especially your Lakers. I don't agree. We have different picks here. I get where you're coming from. I get the Lakers love. Uh, you know, I think if they make a trade, but then there is definitely a chance. As
I did say
I
asterisk.
view you did. I see the roster as it is right now. That team is not
No,
making the finals.
no,
Not making the finals.
no.
They'll be a playing team, but I don't know where they go from there. Hey, the West is, I don't want to say wide open, but there is a numerous amount of teams that could somehow sneak their way into the NBA Finals. Like you have your favorites, OKC, Minnesota, Denver. I think respectively
Yeah,
is the favorites, but that doesn't mean they all these teams have to go up against each other. If you're one of the 8 teams making it to the West, like you're really good. And I think it's going to be a lot harder for a team to come out of the West than it is coming out of the East. I think that there's going to be a lot more harder battles to face in the West, and going to the finals from the Western side of things and going to the finals from the Eastern side of things. It could happen to the Lakers. Who knows? But that's what makes it fun. That we'll have a lot of different teams to be keeping
hey
an
man,
eye on. A lot of teams can be making a push for finals. Who knows? It'll be fun.
I'm confident that the Western Conference pandemonium will work in the Lakers' favor.
Hey, I'm just happy you said the Celtics are winning the championship, so they can make it. Hey, Celtics Lakers in the finals. Why not? LeBron Tatum. I bet the league would like that. I bet the league would like that. So, but all right, that's what we have. Those are our NBA award predictions slash conference finals and NBA finals predictions. Put in the comments what your predictions are. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, doesn't matter. Put it in the comments. Let us know who you have winning. And yeah, that's all we really have today. Jared, do you want to add anything before I sign us off here?
Shout out to Caitlin Clark, breaking the Indiana Fever's drought of not making it to the postseason. Hate to break it
Yes.
to everybody that seems like they hate on what she got going on. She's already a top 5 to top 10 player in the league today. You can argue with your mama, but that girl's
Not
going to
only
do
will
some
she
big things.
not only is she in the Rookie of the Year race, but she should be in the MVP race as well.
MVP
Not
as
saying
well.
she's going to win it, but she definitely should be in consideration
She
there.
has a seat at the table. She
100%.
definitely does.
But all right, that's all we got here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode 53 of Sitting Courtside. Please make sure to subscribe if you are here on YouTube. Again, put in the comments your award predictions. Give us your thoughts below. If you're a podcast only listener, audio only listener, please make sure to give us a 5-star review, rating, subscribe, whatever it may be. We appreciate your support. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I don't know why I couldn't think of the last one. I've been doing this for 53 episodes. It just kind of slips up sometimes. But we appreciate all your support. As always, we'll be back here next week for episode 54. Until then, peace.
Shabba!